Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and a very warm welcome to every single one of you. Thank you so much for being here. This is Divya Tampi, your smart productivity coach. And I had a few of you join in yesterday. Thank you so much for that. And today we have a very important topic. The topic is on morning routines. So one of the reasons why I chose this topic is because I've had different people tell me that they would like to have a morning routine. They've tried to keep a morning routine, but they haven't been able to stick to a routine. So they start something, but after some time they give up that routine. Okay, so I'm going to give it another a minute or two for a few more people to join in, and let me also check through my phone if there are more people who are joining in, so I can say hello. Okay. Awesome. Yes. So if you're watching this live, type hashtag live in the chat box so I know that you're watching this live. Okay. So every single person who comments on this or responds to this, I will be taking out your name, calling out your name, and responding to you. So go ahead, do that. Okay. So here's my question for you. How many of you feel overwhelmed almost as soon as you open your eyes in the morning, even before you have fully woken up from your sleep? How many of you feel tired first thing in the morning? So it's probably only about 9 o'clock in the morning and you're already feeling exhausted and tired. Yeah. How many of you feel anxious at the beginning of the day? I mean, it's understandable if you're feeling anxious towards the middle of the day, end of the day. But no, here we're talking about feeling anxious at the beginning of the day. Okay. Write me in the chat box if you have been experiencing any of these things that I'm talking about. Now, how many of you have tried to set up a routine and follow a routine but have failed? Yeah. Now that doesn't make you a failure, but how many of you have experienced this thing of not being able to stick to a routine, even after you tell yourself that, I'm going to have this routine, I'm going to stick this routine, but you find yourself not being able to do that? Okay. Type me in the chat box if you have experienced that. I may not be able to respond to all the comments in all the platforms because we are going live on multiple platforms. Okay. But do keep commenting because either I'll respond to you live or I will respond to you as soon as this live is over. Okay. And by the way, for those of you who may be watching this as a replay, I'd like you to type out hashtag replay. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. I see a couple of you who are in here. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Yeah, so give me a smiley in the chat box if you're here and you're happy about being on time. Okay, so give me a smiley in the chat box. Fabulous. Thank you so much. Okay, and I'm also trying to see if I can get into Hmm. Uh, yes, I'm also trying to see if I can get into my group. Uh, yes, yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. Okay, I can see a few comments here. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I've muted myself. Okay, so I can see Praveen. Lovely to have you here, Praveen. Thank you so much for being here. Right, now let's get started. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is why routines? Why do you even need to have routines? Why are we even talking about routines? Okay, routines are a life savior for you. It is the biggest productivity hack that you could incorporate into your life. Why would I say that? Now here's the thing. The thing is that every single one of us have routines in our life already, but the only difference is that many of the routines that we have are unconscious. We are not considered the routines. They have just become routines in our lives and they're not necessarily helpful. So routines can be helpful routines and they can also be unhelpful routines. Okay, for example, let's look at some routines which are helpful routines, and probably somebody in the family has helped you to build that. For example, you brush your teeth. Hopefully all of you brush your teeth. Okay, so if you brush your teeth every single morning soon after you wake up, now that's a routine that you have built over a period of time. From when you were a child, it didn't come naturally to you, but somebody helped you to build that routine. If you are in the habit of drinking tea or coffee a little after you wake up every single day, then that's a routine that you follow, and you may be following this routine sometime later in the day as well. Okay, if you are in the habit of having a shower before you go to work or before you start with anything in the morning, then that's a routine that you already have. If you have the habit of changing into night clothes before you go to sleep, that's a routine that you already have. If you have the habit of making a phone call to your family member or to a loved one as soon as you finish work, that's a routine that you have. So you see what I'm talking about? So the reality is that all of us already have routines. Okay, now let me tell you a routine that many of us have and don't really want to have, and it's a routine that is not helping us. How many of you wake up in the morning and the first thing that you do is reach out for the phone, unlock it, and look at all the messages and emails, etc., that has come to you? Okay, write me in the chat box. Go ahead, me in the chat box if you have been experiencing that. Okay. Okay, so that's another routine which is not at all helpful, but we end up doing, right? Now, how does a routine help you? One of the biggest reasons, especially a morning routine, is very very helpful to you is because it gives you a sense of predictability to your day. So if I have like three things that I do immediately after I wake up, and it takes me about an hour to complete those three, four things, and I do that every single day, that becomes my morning routine. And having that morning routine gives my brain a sense of predictability, which means that I don't have to think and decide, oh, what should I do next? Should I do this? Should I do that? Even simple things like, should I start with preparation for breakfast? Should I go to the washroom first, or should I go to and brush my teeth first? You don't have to take that decision because the decision has been already made because of the routine, right? Now when you have that kind of predictability, it gives you a sense of control in your life. Write control in the chat box if you agree with what I'm talking about, right? Even for example, even when there was COVID going on, most of us felt so, it felt like the world was so unpredictable. We didn't know how the next day was going to be. We didn't know how the next few months were going to be. We didn't know about our work, our income, about our family members, our health. So much of unpredictability, right? But even in a situation like that, when you have a routine, you have a sense of control of what you're going to do for the next 1 hour. That's a big deal, right? That's a big deal. That helps your brain to stay in a place of relaxation, of feeling good and energetic. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Another is, so it gives you predictability, it gives you a sense of control. Another fact. Okay. So scientifically, it is shown, research shows that only 5% of our actions throughout a 24-hour day is actually self directed. Now, what that means is 95% of our actions are not self directed, they are automatic. Okay, so there are behaviors which are happening automatically, which we are not even, so for example, if you end up scrolling through the screen, if you end up taking calls and responding to calls, so one of the reasons why at the end of a day, despite having been busy throughout the day, if you look back and you feel like, my god, I've hardly achieved anything, and you are starting to feel frustrated. Okay, one of the reasons for that is your conscious intentional actions were only 5%, and 95% of them were unintentional. Okay, now this is where the power of routines and habits comes into picture, because if you set up routines that help you to move intentionally through the day, that help you to take action intentionally towards your goal, your life can completely transform. Okay, write T in the chat box if that's something that you're able to resonate with. T for transform. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, for those of you who are watching me live, write hashtag live in the chat box. For those of you who are watching a replay of the session, write hashtag replay in the chat box. Okay. Now let's look at, now that we understand how routines are helpful and how they can bring transformation in our lives, let's look at what are some steps that you can take. One is, decide beforehand exactly what routine you want to have. For example, if you wake up in the morning, do you want to start with probably drinking a glass of water? So make some of the things which are already part of your morning routine, incorporate that. You don't have to get rid of everything that you do and start totally afresh. No, keep some things which are helpful at this point of time, make that a part of your life, right? And just having a routine doesn't mean it has to be things which requires you to use your willpower. It can also be things that you enjoy doing. In fact, it is important that you have some elements of your routine which are enjoyable for you. Okay, so maybe you want to start off by drinking a glass of water, and then maybe brushing your teeth, and then maybe stepping out into the balcony and breathing some fresh air. Maybe you sit down to do some meditation. Maybe you do a little bit of exercise or go for a walk. Okay, this much already is a full-fledged morning routine. If you are able to do this much in the first hour of the day without touching your phone, you have started off brilliantly well. Okay, write brilliant in the chat box if this is something that you're able to resonate with, if you agree. Okay. So that's the first one. Decide on the exact routine. You may be reading a lot of articles about, okay, this is the right routine, this is the routine that the most successful people follow and all of that. But the reality is that our routines have to be customized to what works for us. Okay, of course, no matter what routine you start, it is not going to come naturally to you from the beginning. You will have to intentionally set up a routine and remind yourself and follow it for a while before it becomes automatic. And even without you thinking about it, you will be able to do that. Okay, so one is decide exactly what you're going to do, right? So that is the decide the exact routine. Okay, and make it very, very specific. Okay, what do I mean by this? If you're saying that I'm going to drink water first thing in the morning, decide, are you going to drink 1 glass of water, or are you going to drink 2 glasses of water? Remember that the intention of this is not rigidity. Okay, it is not to say that, oh, you can only have 1 glass of water, or you can only have 2 glasses of water. It's so that your brain doesn't have to choose, doesn't have to take decisions and get confused. It is in that confusion that we lose control. Okay, so decide, is it 1 glass of water, is it 2 glasses of water? And whatever you decide, just stick to that, right? The second is you go to brush your teeth. Now, as far as brushing is concerned, it is a habit for most of us. So you don't have to think about how much toothpaste to push out. Okay. The next, let's say you're talking about meditation. If you're talking about, if you are saying that, okay, I want to meditate for 10 minutes. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people may tell you that you need to meditate for a minimum of half an hour or minimum of 20 minutes or whatever it is. Okay. Yes, if you want to see results in the long term, there is a certain amount of period that you need to do the meditation to see the results. However, for somebody who's a beginner, who's not meditated, to whom it doesn't come easy, make sure that you start small. In fact, that is the third point I wanted to mention, is keep it small. If 10 minutes is too much for you, keep 5 minutes. If 5 minutes is too much for you, keep 2 minutes. Right? Whatever works for you, because we can think about increasing it, making it bigger, more sophisticated, more complicated later, once this small thing has become a habit and has become easy for us. Okay, so decide for how long you're going to meditate, and exactly to what you're going to meditate. Now, some of us, like personally for me, I meditate without music, right? Or any I don't use any guided meditation, but initially it was useful for me to have some guided meditation. And on certain days when I'm feeling really, restless, I use some guided meditation, but otherwise I just kind of focus on my breath. So if you are somebody who feels like you need some guidance, then use some, but decide beforehand what guided meditation you're going to use and keep it ready. When it is time for you to meditate is not the time for you to go start searching for, okay, what meditation music and what guided meditation. No, right? So decide, it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, the choice is yours, but decide that beforehand. Okay, so decide your wake up time first of all. So if it's 7 o'clock, decide that I'm going to wake up at 7 o'clock. After that, you're going to drink water. After you're going to brush your teeth. After that, you're going to meditate for a certain amount of time. Okay, and then maybe it is exercise. Now, exercise for some people may be intense exercise where you're doing high intensity exercise, right? Like HIIT. Or for some of you, it may be just going for a walk. Okay, once again, it's very important that you pick up something that works for you. Now, just because the world is going to the gym and doing weights and stuff doesn't mean you have to do that. Okay, if you are somebody who's not exercised all this while, and this is something new for you, the important thing for you is to get started. Okay, so keep it specific, keep it small. Okay, and it's more important that you focus on just sticking to whatever it is. For example, let me give you an example. Uh, for example, you say that, I'm going to do some push-ups. I will do 5 push-ups every day. Maybe you're not that great at push-ups. Like personally, when I started doing push-ups, even now my push-ups aren't that great. Okay, and like half the time I'm falling off and collapsing on the floor. Right? Now, the point here is, if you say I'm going to do 5 push-ups, it doesn't mean that you do perfect 5 push-ups. The important thing is for you to do the push-ups however you do it, right? If you say you're going to do 25 push-ups, the important thing is you do it however you can do it, because as you keep doing that again and again and again and again, you will keep getting better at it. And this is true for every single thing, whether it is meditation, whether it is physical exercise or anything else. Okay, so that's the next thing. Yes, and the fifth thing that I want to share. By the way, if any of you are here watching this, if you have any questions, I'm going to take the last 5 minutes. So right now it is 6:35. I'm going to keep the last 5 minutes to answer any questions that you may have. Yeah, the fifth point that I wanted to tell you was that set up the environment in such a way that it helps you to follow your routine. What does that mean? For example, if it's meditation, you already decided to you're going to meditate to let's say a guided meditation music. uh, Decide beforehand, where exactly are you going to do it? Are you going to do it in the balcony? Are you going to do it in another room? Are you going to sit in a corner of the living room? Decide beforehand. Are you going to sit on a yoga mat? Are you going to sit on a chair? Like, decide all of that beforehand. And it may be useful for you to keep some of the things ready for you to get started. For example, workout. If you are going for a workout or a run or a walk, whatever, keep your workout clothes ready, right? If you are planning to wear shoes, keep your shoes and socks ready. If you're planning to carry a bottle of water, keep your bottle of water ready the previous night. Don't start looking for it that morning. Okay, because the more things you have to do in preparation for the routine that you have to carry out, lesser your chances of you being able to carry it out. Okay, if that makes sense, write MS in the chat box. Yeah, go ahead, MS in the chat box. Yes, so set up your environment. For example, if you want to drink water, okay, keep a bottle of water and a glass ready so that you then don't have to go looking for the glass, then for the water. No, right? Have that ready. So whatever your morning routine is, keep whatever it is possible for you to keep ready, keep that ready, because our environment is stronger than our willpower, right? So if our environment is designed and kept ready for us to be able to carry out the behaviors and the routines that we want to set for ourselves, it will be far more easier, and the chances of us being able to stick to that routine is much, much higher. Okay, so don't make this a willpower challenge. Oh, if I have willpower, I should be able to do that. No, it's like a baby trying to walk. When a baby is trying to walk, it is not about the baby's willpower, right? It is about the muscles of the baby's legs getting used to the process of walking, right? And if the baby requires help at that point of time, it requires some kind of support along the way, you will provide it, because you know that it will help the baby to do the walking, right? Okay, write baby in the chat box if that makes sense. Okay, so remember that when you are starting off a routine, you are taking baby steps. Okay, so you are a baby as far as the routines are concerned, and as long as you stick to this, you will keep getting better and better. Okay, and now the sixth thing that you may want to do, wherever it is possible, like for example, if there are people whom you're close to, like who are part of your life. For example, you have your wife or your husband or your parents or whatever, who you think may kind of get in the way of you being able to follow the routine. See if you can get their buy-in as well. Okay, two things: either you set the expectation with the other person that I'm going to be doing my own thing for about an hour in the morning and I will not be available, so that they know that in advance, right? Because you don't want to start doing things and then somebody coming and asking you and stopping you in between. Okay, so make sure you do that. uh, the second is, if it is possible, like for example, if you're trying to make physical activity a part of your routine, see if you can actually get your best friend or your spouse or somebody else also to join you, because that would be really helpful. That would help, because when you have somebody who's doing it along with you, there is an accountability partner, it becomes so much more easier for you to stay consistent. Personally, for me, things that I find very difficult, I mean, even physical activity for that matter, or for that matter, changing my food habits wasn't particularly easy. So if you require to have a coach for that, go ahead, have a get a coach for yourself. Maybe it's group coaching, maybe it is personal coaching, somebody like a physical coach who can tell you what diet you need to have so that you can prepare in advance. But even without any of this external help, you can start off with a very basic morning routine. And if you are able to keep yourself in that space, imagine for a moment, I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine that you have a fantastic morning routine for the first 45 minutes of the day, right? You wake up, you breathe in deeply, you brush your teeth, you have a glass of water, you meditate for 10-15 minutes, then you work out for another 20 minutes. How do you think you will feel at the end of that 1 odd hour? Okay. Let me know in the chat box. How do you think you would feel if you are able to stick to even this much, even a 45-minute routine in the morning without going to your phone? Now, see what happens is when you go to your phone, okay, when you go to your phone is it's not as simple as, oh, I'm looking at the phone and it's a bad habit. No, it is not. When you go to your phone and you start looking at the messages, you start looking at the emails, your brain is mentally going away into a different world. Now you're being pulled by other people's requests and demands, and you have no control. And it is that feeling of having no control that puts you into a space of overwhelm even before the day starts. Okay. If give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay, give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. And I'm just going to check if there's anybody commenting on the YouTube. Okay, and thank you once again to each one of you who is here, who's commenting, who's responding. It means a lot to me. And by the way, that's pretty much today's session, okay, where we spoke about morning routines and how you can stick to the morning routine. Make sure that you apply every single one of the points that I already told you about. If you have any questions, go ahead, ask your question right now. And let me take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Divya Tampi. I'm a smart productivity coach, and I help working women go from 1 lakh to 10 lakh in 12 months, okay, using the power of personal productivity. Okay, because personal productivity is super powerful, right? And if you would like to, by the way, let me actually share with you. I'm going to be doing I'm going to be doing a masterclass. It's called the Smart Productivity Masterclass. Okay, I'm in fact trying to type out as I speak to you. So I'm doing the Smart Productivity Masterclass, which is happening in another. It's what 6:42, right? It's happening in another hour and 15 minutes. Okay, I have put in the link for the Smart Productivity Masterclass. Let me just make sure that yeah. Yes. Okay. So hopefully you are able to see that on my screen. It's a Smart Productivity Masterclass. Okay. Join in to this masterclass. And it's a 90-minute masterclass. It's power packed and you'll get a lot of value. You will learn a lot more, where I talk about the 3 secrets of the smart productivity system. Okay, which is the system that helps people to move from 1 lakh to 10 lakh in 12 months. Okay. So if you are a working woman, you are at the right time, right place at the right time. So click on that link or copy that link, register for this program, and join it at 8 o'clock. And by the way, I'll be coming live again tomorrow at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Okay. So join in every day. I'm going to bring out a new topic. And by the way, if you have any suggestions for the topics that you would like me to cover during these live sessions, let me know and I'll take those up and I will cover those. Okay. So thanks once again. It's been an absolute pleasure being here. This is my 7-day Facebook Live challenge. And thank you so much once again. Have a great, great day. I don't see any questions. So, yeah, at this point of time, I don't see. Let me just check once again. Okay, going back to my Facebook page to see if there are any questions that have been asked and I may have missed. Okay, this is your opportunity while I'm doing that. This is your opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. Okay, I see some comments which have come. Great. Okay, I think we're good. So that's about it. Thank you so much and have a great evening. And I'll see you for the Smart Productivity Masterclass. This is Divya Tampi, your Smart Productivity Coach, signing off for the day.